Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Happy Spoken Word Tuesday. I hope you guys did's come along fine. Anyway, you guys know on Tuesdays, I like to bring the word. And earlier, I read my short from the sealed portion, chapter 95, verse 19, and it reads as follows. And many of the poor should desire to attend these schools, that they might also participate in the economy of the beast and take its image upon them. But because they are poor, they should not have the means whereby they can pay for the education that the rich have placed a value to get gain. So basically, you guys, the image of the beast is your choice, right? You know, the image of the beast is very broad. And unknowingly, many of the poor has taken the image of the beast, trying to attend these prestige universities just to keep up with the economy of the Joneses, right? But because the selling of education is how the rich gain their profits, the poor could never afford their education. So you see, that means the image of the beast is your choice, right? You either take it or leave it, but it's up to you to want to go ahead and enjoy the economy of the Joneses, right? And take his image upon you, right? Or take the beast of the image upon you, because right now it's telling you basically the institutions of learnings is part of the beast, right? The image of the beast. And therefore, you have all the opportunity, because we have the right of free agency, to pick the beast, to be a part of his image or be a part of the Father's image. All right, so today, you guys, again, I'm going to continue with chapter 95 of the sealed portion. I did maybe end with verse 14, but I'm actually going to go up and begin again with verse 10, because it's going to connect, with the rest of the scriptures we're going to read. Right, and as I normally do, I want to read the header of chapter 95, and it says, the evils of modern day secular education pursuits. The Lord will destroy all the institutions of learning that have been established by the human race. We are admonished to seek for the kingdom of God above all else, okay? And beginning with verse 10. And thus Satan shall again show forth his power over the children of men, in fulfilling the words of John, when he spoke of the beast and his image, and the acceptance and worshiping of this image, which is established and influenced through these institutions of learning, okay? Now, in the days of Adam, there were no schools where one might go to learn the things and knowledge of the world. But all the children of Adam were taught the plan of the Father, which is that they should love one another and do unto each other what they would have done unto them. And in the city of Enoch, which was the most righteous city that has ever been upon the earth, in this city there were no institutions of secular learning established among the people. And these people were the most beloved and respected of all the children of God that had placed upon this earth. And they truly experienced eternal peace and happiness among them. So he said, and now I ask ye of the latter days, what good is the knowledge that is taught to you in your schools of learning? Doeth the knowledge that you learn point you towards loving your neighbor and doing good unto them? Or do it not teach you to exalt yourself above your neighbor? Yea, do it not teach you that which ye must do in order to gain more than that which the poor and the meek receive, because they do not attend these schools? Okay? So you see, just basically right here from verses 10 to 15, it's talking about how Satan is going to show forth his plan, right? They had the power of the children, right? From all the men, fulfilling the words of John, because John spoke about this, right? When he spoke about the beast and this image, right? And the acceptance of worshiping this image, right? Which is influenced and established through the institutions of learning. So you see, therefore, you get to choose, right, if you want to be a part of the image of the beast, okay? And it said that basically, remember, right, in the days of Adam and Enoch, there was no institution of learning, right? They only learned the Father's plan. It was, how they should love one another and do to them as they would be done to them, right? And the city of Enoch, that was the most holiest city ever, until the Father took them on up, to enjoy eternal life, because Enoch himself, in all his prosperity, he had taught them how to be righteous, right? Remember, he was the seventh from Adam, okay, the son of Jared, okay, the grandfather of Noah. And remember, Noah was still righteous, which Noah had begat, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Noah was the one before the flood, he was the one who Enoch had guided him. Enoch had guided Noah, letting him know, beware of the deluge or the flood. The flood is coming, okay, and try to, get him ready. So they were still righteous. So Enoch had already known he was seventh of Adam, so he was still righteous from the prosperity of Adam. So by the time it reached to Noah, who was the son of Lamech, after that, because of all the evil, the Father had destroyed the flood, which Enoch had forewarned his grandson Noah. But before all this flood took place and all that evil took place, remember there was no institution of secular learning, so therefore nobody could get gain, and be above the next person. All right, verse 16. And what of the poor? Are not they the ones that work in your fields and sew your clothes and do all manner of labor that provided you with a house in which you live? Yes, right. You got all these slaves. Slaves from the beginning and built America and built everything, right? So it's telling you right now. And what of the poor? Those slaves is poor, right? Are not they the ones who work in your fields, who build these lands and sew your clothes, right? Who got your clothes, who got them made them, wash them and everything, right? And do all manner of manual labor that provided you with a house in which to live, done all your cooking, your cleaning, nursing your children, building your houses. Is that not what the poor did? The poor did all your labor. And then he said, and what have these who are the most important people in the sustaining of your daily lives? Yeah, what have they learned in your institutions? Behold, not attending your institutions causeth them to be humble before God and work by the sweat of their own brow, which was commanded of them by the Lord. So because these institutions came along, because the secular learning came along, they took all the trades and all the factories and everything. Before that, people would have to work by the sweat of their brow, get up there tilling and working in steel mills and doing everything, right? Getting trades to take care of themselves, using their hands, right? But because the rich wanted to gain the profit and keep the poor poor, they created all these institutions, right, of secular learning so that people to get caught in debt and also to go live like them, they had to pay for it. But they never ever reached the potential, of the rich, because the rich institutions is set up only to get gain. So the poor can never afford it. The poor is stuck making the rich rich. The poor is stuck being poor, okay, and continue to stay poor because of the rich. But anyway, like he said, and what have these, who are the most important people in the sustaining of your daily lives? Yeah, what have they learned in your institutions? Behold, not attending your institutions caused them to humble before God and work by the sweat of their own brow, which was commanded of them by the Lord. So they don't attend the institutions, right? Remember, they don't get big head, they don't get proud, they become humble, right? And follow the plan of God, right? Which was commanded. They work by the sweat of their own brow, up, tilling and kneeling, day in, day out, right? But working them trades, creating trades with their hands, working with their hands, right? Sweating, by their brow, as the Father had commanded them, right? And therefore, because they're not, I won't say done because they're not filled up with all, the secular education from these institutions that the rich has, allowed them to be a part of the beach only to get a gain, then, they can be humble. They don't have to worry about the Joneses, nobody being ahead of them because they treat people how they want to be treated. And because those same people on the same level, on the same page, on the same platform, they don't have to worry about nobody trying to be bigger than them or better than them, but they're all working equally on the same platform. Because during the days of Adam and Enoch, there was no secular institution, but the people followed the God's plan, which was taught to love one another, and do to one another as you want done unto yourself. All right, verse 18. Yeah, these are the poor and the meek and the humble, whom ye have abased, because ye have lifted yourselves above them and paid them a low wage for which ye would not work. So you see, people do to others like they wouldn't do. They'll have somebody go out there and dig up the ground, scrape, get on their knees, and they wouldn't do it themselves, right? They had a humble, the poor and everything, right? To go out there and the meek, right? And they push them down and make them beat them down to the ground and make them feel low, have them do all they work, right? And want them to pay them what they worth. So again, what that verse say, yeah, these are the poor and the meek and the humble, whom ye have abased, because ye have lifted yourselves above them and paid them a low wage for which ye yourself wouldn't even work. You know you wouldn't. Verse 19, and many of the poor shall desire to attend these schools, that they might also participate in the economy of the beast and take its image upon them. But because they are poor, they should not have the means whereby they can pay for the education that the rich have placed a value to good gain. Again, that was my short. So you see, right, remember, the image of the beast is broad. It's your choice, right, to be participating in the image of the beast, right? And just know, many of the poor, including myself, attend these universities, prestigious colleges, had to pay all this money, but it's only to get gain. And then when you get all this education, you never can really work in the field you want. Now you're in debt, right? Trying to participate in the image of the beast or the economy that they provide for you, or these secular, institutions of education that never ever help you get gain but put you in debt. So we go do all this, right, to try to participate in the economies of the Joneses, to only get filled with debt and never satisfied with your job, never getting paid what you work, and never really being a part of the field that you went to school for, right? But you owe the rich money, and they continue getting money built and working off you while you still going in debt. Okay, so remember, because we chose the image of the beast, we had the opportunity. We didn't have to do this. We could have been skipping with our hands, made our own trade, right? And then we supposed to got the Father commanded, but because of all this influence, they throwing all this. Oh, they say you got to do this to get the American dream, to be successful. You got to go to school and get in debt for $1 million, right? And come work for us. We're not gonna pay you, right? And we also gonna discriminate against you. We're gonna make you work hard. You got to work 2 times harder than us, right? Because we privileged and you poor. But you will never, ever, never get to where we are, right? Because our whole system, right, and all we're trying to do basically right now is keep you in debt and continue to allow us to gain profits, right? Because that's the value we placed upon education. And if you want the education like us, you're going to pay for it, but you will never reach our potential. All right, so remember, therefore, it is your choice to choose the image of the beast. Verse 20, behold, these institutions shall be set up to enrich those who invest in them and pay the salaries of the professors and administrators who are emissaries of Satan and share in the glory and blessings that had promised them. So you see, behold, the institutions, the secular education institutions shall be set up, right, for those who invest in them, right, to continue to get gain, right, also remember to pay the salaries of the professors and administrators who are the emissaries, right, who are the ushers of Satan, basically, okay, and, to share the glory of Satan and the blessings that Satan had promised them, right? Verse 21, behold, these have been convinced by Satan that without an education that can only be received in an institution of learning that is set up to get gain, the image of the beast cannot be realized, neither shall the great standard of excellence that they have been deceived into, thinking should be the desire of every heart, come to pass. So again, behold, these have been convinced by the Satan. Remember, the professors, the administrators have been convinced by Satan that without an education, they can only be received in an institution, right, of learning that is set up to get gain, okay? The image of the beast cannot be realized, right, if it doesn't go this way. Neither shall the great standard of excellence that they have been deceived into, thinking should be desire of every heart, come to pass. It's all a lie. But that's how Satan convinced them, right? Remember, he's a lie. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Verse 22, yeah, these are the learned of whom the prophets have testified shall persecute the poor and the needy because of their words, or in other words, because of their lack of the education offered in these institutions. So you see how they keep them down, because remember, the plan of the Father is to love one another and do unto one another as they would have done unto you. Nobody be above each other, but everybody placed on the same level. So everybody can be equally yoked. No, but the plan of Satan is to use, the Gentiles, the rich, right? To use their money to put forth out there secular institutions that will allow them to gain a profit, right? And place a value on education, so that those who want to become part of the image of the beast or be up there with the Joneses will have to pay, although they poor, they can never afford the education, will have to pay to get that education, only never to receive the job they want, never to be in the field they want, never to get paid they want, and to be forced to work 2 times as much, right? And never be looked at and honored because remember, you're trying to get what a rich at, and the rich is supplying you, what they feel to help get them gain. But you got to be underneath the rich, because everything you getting is from the rich. It's from what the rich is providing to you. Okay. All right. And the very final verse, verse 23. And now the Lord offered his truth and his understanding of knowledge unto all without price. You hear that again. And now the Lord offered his truth and his understanding of knowledge unto all without price. Yeah, this is what is meant by Jacob, okay? When he said, come, my brethren, everyone who thirsted, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Therefore, do not spend money for that which is of no worth, nor your labor for that which cannot satisfy. So you see, he's telling you, y'all want to pay to do all that, to get some love, to get unloved, right? When the Father said, you didn't got to pay to get his word. You ain't got to pay to learn from him. And if you're thirsty, come on and get it. Come on and drink. He give it to you free, okay? You don't have to use your money to get, he trying to give you his salvation, right? You don't have to use your money, or spend your money for that which is no worth. All that secular education, right? Nor for your labor that you can't even be satisfied with. All the labor you doing, right? You still poor, and you still got to spend so much trying to reach up there, with the privilege. With those who's continuing to gain, profits from setting a value on the education that we seek, to be part of the image of the beast, just to participate in the economy of the Joneses. All right? All right, so you guys, again, the Father said, and now the Lord offered his truth and his understanding of knowledge unto all without a price. Yeah, this is what was meant by Jacob when he said, come, my brethren, everyone who thirsty, come to the water, come ye to the water, and he that had no money, come buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Therefore, do not spend money for that which is of no worth, nor your labor for that which cannot satisfy. So you guys see, now we do better when we know better, right? So now you guys should be learning every day, so now remember, you got the option, you got the choice, because we have the free right of our agency, we have the choice, right? To be a part of the image of the beast or not. Happy Tuesday. Happy Spoken Word Tuesday. Love you guys. Peace.